Hi folks, welcome to Dave at your desk part 4. Again, 5 exercises starting at a neck and shoulders, working our way down to our ankles. And if you find any discomfort as you're going along, then just don't do them. Do a different exercise that you prefer, and of course get some guidance as well. Should take about 5 minutes of your time, should leave you feeling a little bit looser. And if you prefer some of the exercises from the old vids, do those instead. We're going to start off with shoulder shrugs. Again, in a gym situation, you may have done these. You may have dumbbells or a barbell in your hand, and anything standing, we're just getting nicely balanced. And we're going to bring our shoulders up and gently back down again. Now, you might have been sat at your desk for a little while, and you might even prefer that slight rotate them back feels nice as well. That's totally up to you. This is your few minutes of mobilizing. As you get the opportunity, perhaps try to increase the range of motion. So a deep shoulder feel than trying to sink a little bit. You probably feel a little bit of a stretch across the trap muscles there, trapezius, and then shrug them up to your ears and gently back down again. You may find one side is more mobile than the other. Not necessarily a big deal. If you have any problems with that, then obviously speak to a physio or an expert on those. So bringing up to the shoulders and gently back down again. We're going to do what I generally call a ruler kayak. Now in this particular case, the ruler I have to hand is one sports teacher's metre-long one. The whole point of it is, all we're trying to do is bring here and almost like a kayak action. You could use a pen, you could use your phone, although I do like to get the phone out of the way. Once we've been sat at the desk for far too long, looking at a screen, we need to get up and we need to get mobile. So all I'm doing here is bringing the top hand over, so it's vertical, bringing it down and down. Now, any of you who are used to kayaking may argue that my technique on here is not wonderful. This is not supposed to be a kayak session, but it gives you a basic idea. Couple more. If you wear a tie for a living, you could always take that off and do that, as long as you're not getting yourself in trouble at work. Okay, we're going to look at a pelvic/hip thrust. Slightly careful to this one. All I'm doing is sitting side on, and from here I'm just thinking about rotating the hips very slightly forward and then back again. So what we're doing here is my hands on my hips are almost helping me push hips forward, push it back. So if my normal motion is here, I push forward and I push back. There shouldn't be any discomfort in the lower back. If there is, don't do the bit going back. So I'm making a very conscious effort here, and it might be an action that's not being picked up too well on camera, but making a very, very conscious decision to push the hips forward, to push them back. Okay, move on to our side step and squat. We're not going to be squatting like you might do in the gym, power bags, barbells on. But all I'm looking is a step across, a slight movement. Step back, the other way. Let me come across here so you can easily see. A little step across and lower. A bit like we did in week 1, where we're looking at these little half squats. So I'm stepping across, slight sink down so my glutes go onto the table. So all we're doing is we're bringing a lateral movement to our hips. And we're bringing a little bit of movement to our knees. This exercise itself is around for getting the hamstrings, the quads and the glutes. So it is a general exercise, though I can't imagine many people aching excessively after this. Last one is a calf stretch. There's many ways you can do this. A simple one that I would like to do would be something to push against. Put your leg, this leg back behind, bend the front leg and then lean into your desk. So the weight is on this leg, but the stretch should be felt on this one. So it's leaning into it. Those of you who may have undertaken something like a London Marathon, or at least watched it on telly, you will quite often see people towards the end of the race doing this, pushing up against a wall, and that's usually to try and help reduce cramp or to try and get a little bit of range of motion back in the muscle. If we've been sat down, our ankle joint has probably been stayed at one place. This is help us stretching out a little bit. Bring it in, same on the other side. So again, the weight goes onto the bent leg, but you can probably feel it at the bottom of the straight leg. Push against something if you need. This works really well against the wall. I'm just using the desk here as a little bit of support. And we do. So with that one, like with any, when you finish, get some water. I'm sure you'll all have work to do and back to the desk, which is where I'm going. Look after yourself, keep well.